here is what I'd like to talk about. The hypnotic gaze. Dun, dun, dun. I hope you guys have brought your cloaks and your monocles and your top hats today, because it doesn't work without them. You have brought them, haven't you? Yes, definitely. I'll be hallucinating a lot today, will I? So, there's a myth about hypnotic gaze. Everyone talks about the evil eye, or don't look at me, I can't look you in the face, you're a hypnotist, right? But in every myth, there is a seed of truth. Now, eye contact in mammals is a very powerful thing. It's part of a challenge frame, it's also part of a connection frame. So, as mammals, we actually have a massive part of the brain dedicated to processing the eyes. To process not what we're just seeing with the eyes, but also what other people's eyes are doing. I don't know if you know this, but we respond to a black dot in a white circumference really powerfully, because it basically is it's kind of it shows us where people's attentions are. So just to do a little bit of research on this, they had some monkeys looking at different just pictures with a little white frame with a black dot going in different directions, and they basically start looking wherever the quote-unquote eyes are looking. So when you have a white frame and a black dot in the corner there, it basically suggests that someone's looking in that direction, and invariably people start doing this. It's part of how we're hardwired. We need to know where people's attentions are at, and that's what the eyes do. So now, when you lock attention with someone, that happens, right? But there's a problem. If you lock attention with someone, I can't do it now, right? Most often people lock attention, lock eye contact during a confrontation, right? And then you get that whole little thing going. Occasionally people lock eye contact when they have a romantic moment. That's much more pleasant. But I'm guessing you don't want to have romantic moments with every person that you meet. And you don't want to be fighting every person that you meet. Just a guess here. I mean, would it be close? So how do you do this? How do you take advantage of this natural mechanism of absorbing attention, which goes back to your question again? How do you absorb attention without actually having to sleep with that person or fight them? Somebody going, actually, no, I'm happy with sleeping with them. Well, the answer is very simple. Right? It's what I call the grandfather look. If anyone has had, like, you know, a really kind of the stereotype of a grandfather, all wrinkled, old, friendly, happy, just pleased to see you. Whenever they look at you like you're 10 times better than you ever thought you were. Right? This goes back to what Philip was saying before as well. So it's like, you want to practice, you want to get the sense of the happy grandfather look whilst locking eye contact with someone else. And that's it, you're done. Right? So it's basically H+ adapted to a, should I say, more normal, everyday sort of situation. Now, you know what that takes? It does take effort. In fact, it takes a lot of energy, because you've got to do it inside yourself. You can't just look at someone and go, oh, I'm a happy grandfather. It doesn't work quite the right way. Inside yourself, you do essentially what I think Rashid was talking about before. You find it's like, have you guys seen the Peter Pan film with Robin Williams? Yeah, you've got to find your happy thought. Your happy thought, right? For me, when I'm doing hypnosis, I just know, for me it's like I'm about to open a door into Wonderland, and I'm about to say, come in, you're going to love this. That's what I'm thinking inside my head, right? I know something amazing is about to happen, and I'm just saying, come on, you're going to love this when you get there. And if they're like, it'll be like, no, I can't do this. It's like, it's okay, don't worry, you're going to love it, trust me, this is going to be so good, right? In other settings, you may want to be more like a friendship thing. So you're there going like, you are a great person. It's like almost like a silent script you run inside your head. Now, it really doesn't matter what it is, I don't think, provided it's really positive, and that if you actually said it to the person out loud, given the right context, it would actually create the relationship or the atmosphere that you would want, right? So if you're thinking naughty thoughts, then that might not be the thing to be doing. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
I actually have a certain amount of experience of that on the negative side from my youth. I used to be a bouncer, concert security.
Can you just pause there a second? Let's just get a microphone over here, because this is sounding like we're we're all going to have to listen to this. No, this is good. Down here, Nathan, over here, blue shirt.
It's going to be easier when you all have the DVDs to listen to it at home.
Go ahead,
I
Nathan.
say I have some experience with what he's talking about on the negative side. When I was younger, I was a bouncer, did a lot of concert security, and I found just by accident that if I envisioned scenes from horror movies, things were very extreme, very ugly, people could read that, and they would cower like whipped dogs. You know, I mean, it was, and so I understand. Like I said, I don't advise you use that particular methodology because that's not what we're after here. But I'm saying that the emotion is conveyed very, very strongly and very rapidly.
Yes, it is.
Very
And that's the
effective.
thing. It's very, very quick. This is going to the principle, which we've intimated, but I haven't actually talked about yet, which is you want to go first. You want to put yourself in the mental state, the emotional state that you want the client to be in. If you want them to be in trance, put yourself in trance. If you want them to be happy, get happy yourself. If you want them to be relaxed, relax yourself. Otherwise, you're like, yeah, and you'll be having such a great life. You'll be happy. Every day, your excitement soars. You'll be leaping out of bed going, woohoo, I love life. Right? Do you see how there's something missing in that interaction? So the whole principle of going first begins with the H+, which is all about what you're saying there. You find a scene, a mental idea. It can be an abstract idea, by the way, guys, as well. It could be, if you're religious, you can be the idea of love, right? If you're less religious, you can still work with love. It could be a personal scene, like being with your children. It could be something you saw in a film where two friends are just hanging out and it just like encapsulates for you what friendship means. It doesn't matter what you use. What matters is that whatever mental image, sentence, words, phrase, abstractions, ideas that you use triggers an emotional response in you, and then you allow your physical behavior to adjust, your expression to adjust to fit that emotion. You don't have to do anything. It's like, yeah, I'm happy now. It happens automatically, right? It leaks out, and that's what you want to have happen. Go ahead.
Also, in the same tone, I think for me, what I do is when a person is coming to me and being vulnerable, and they're paying me to help them, you know, I don't take that lightly.
No.
I mean, these people are being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. They don't even know me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so it's not just a job. You know, what we're doing here is way more than that. These are human beings, souls, and, you know, they're coming, for some reason or other, they're guided to you, and so I take it very seriously.
I couldn't agree more than that. In fact, I was having exactly the same thought today. I won't tell you where it was, but I was having exactly the same thought. This is about showing respect to other people, because, let's face it, how often do you go up to a total stranger and say, this is the biggest thing I'm afraid of in my life, this is where I think I'm totally worthless, and here you go, have it. How often do we do that? We don't really, do we? Because it's scary, it's painful, it's frightening, and we're afraid of the comeback. And yet, that's exactly what we expect from our clients, because we need that kind of honesty to be able to work with the things that we do, right? So you have to take it absolutely seriously. Not, yes, I'm taking it seriously now. I'm a serious man. Now, go into trance. No? Exactly. You respect it in the sense of like, thank you for doing that, and now let's do something with it so that you can be the way that you and I both know you can be. So, you ready for an exercise? Here's what we're going to do. You're going to split up into pairs. You're going to spread around as much as you want. This is going to be a beautiful exercise for me because you'll all be very quiet. There'll be no words spoken in this. And all you're going to do is you're going to practice hypnotic gaze. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sit across from each other. Say I'm doing it with a cliff. Get yourself a nice comfortable position because you'll be doing very little moving in a moment. Then the very first thing you do is close your eyes. And inside, you begin to find, you might rotate through different scenes, a scene, an idea, a symbol, something that symbolizes the idea of H+ to you, which is hypnosis is about to occur, I'm about to hypnotize you, you're going to enter a hypnotic state, so maybe see them going to trance. And then, as a result of that, something really powerful, something really good is going to happen. That winter wonderland's about to open up, and oh boy, you're going to love it. And when you get that sense, you'll probably feel it because your expression will change, maybe your breathing changes. But when you really have a sense of that, open your eyes only as slowly as you can maintain that. And when you look at that person, project that as though they're the living embodiment of that idea inside you, right? You're doing this so that you are totally absorbed. You want to be totally absorbed in your A. You can't have any critical factor going on in here, because that's like, a bit cheesy. So you have mixed communication there. You don't want that. You just maybe look at them and know, really know that something's going to happen. And then you'll lock eye contact, and you'll do that as long as you can before you'll go, okay, I'll go start again. Okay? So I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes to do that. If you can last 10 minutes in one round, you guys are rock solid. But if you just do a minute or two, then you blink and look away and go, okay, I've got to start again, that's fine. That's how you learn to increase, if you like, the mental strength of where you're doing it. It's actually it's a very personal thing to look someone straight into the eyes. And, you know, different people have different reactions that come up. Expect it, allow it to happen, and then continue or carry on. Just to warn you, actually I won't warn you about, unusual things may happen. That's okay, allow them to happen, okay? The only thing I will say now is, so you lock eye contact. If you happen to blink or whatever it is, just start again from fresh. Maintain that mindset, and if you lose the mindset, close your eyes and start all over again, okay?
Igor, both people are doing this
at the same time. So both people are doing it simultaneously, right? Now, if you find looking someone in the actually looking someone in the eye for a long period of time as difficult for you, emotionally difficult for you, and it can be for some people, it was for me initially, it's okay to do a little cheating at first and maybe look at the base of the nose, the bit right here between the eyes, because it still looks like you're looking directly at them, right? I'm actually doing it. It still looks like you're looking directly at them, and it takes the emotional pressure off you doing it whilst maintaining the emotional pressure on them experiencing it. But my preference is to actually look directly at the eyes if you can have the strength of mind. Go ahead.
When you're looking in the eyes, the tendency is to pick one eye over the other.
Yes.
So is there one better than, in Ayurvedic tradition, they say
there
that...
are people... it's a good question. It's a good question.
In the Ayurvedic tradition, apparently looking through the left eye is the window of the soul. So I was just wondering what their comment to that.
There's different hypnotists who have different ideas. The most common one, which is very similar to what you're saying there, is if you look at the, I think it's the right eye, which, if you look at the left eye, because it's wired to the right brain, and the right brain's where more the unconscious function, the emotional functions occur, that can be more hypnotic. I don't feel strongly. I tend to look at the left eye as I look at it, which is the right eye, and it works great for me. And I recognize that there may be some physiological reason for looking at the other eye as well. So do whatever you prefer and experiment. Seriously, experiment. Spend the next week, spend a whole day looking only at the left eye, then spend another day only looking at people's right eye, and see if it actually has a difference for you. If it does, then follow whatever the better effect was, and if it doesn't, then you're free to choose. I think that's the best way of doing it. Did you have a follow-up to that, Rashid? No. Okay. Charles?
Yeah, in corrections, as an instructor, I was taught to look in the left eye because it's softer usually, and the right eye is more aggressive.
Okay.
But look in the mirror and see which eye, do it yourself, you know, look with your left eye or whatever, and see which one is more aggressive to you. I mean, that's what I was taught. No, and then you do the opposite, do the one that's more soft, because, you know, I've done this for years, and when I'm talking to a guy, I'm looking him in the eye, but I'm not being aggressive. It's like a relaxed attentiveness. Exactly. Kind of like a little kid. What works for me is I think of a little kid that hasn't been scared yet enough to not look in someone's eyes. That curiosity, the you know, just the open. It's not aggressive, but just wide eye.
This is exactly what we're looking for, right? And you know, as these people are discovering, when you have this kind of contact, when you have this kind of hypnotic context, everything amplifies, which means little nuances like which eye you look into can amplify as well. And all I can say is I can't give you hard research on if one eye is better than the other. I know there's the preference amongst the hypnotists that do this, and it appears that outside of the community is also seems to be a preference. And the best thing is experiment. If one eye, it works better than the other, and even with each individual, if you find one eye somehow friendlier or somehow feels more like you connect with it, then go with that. Because often your intuitions or your instincts are your unconscious mind responding to some subtle signal that tells you this is a better way of doing it. So trust that rather than the rule. And if you want to take the general rule of thumb from both sides of the world, you know, the Corrections Institute and the Ayurvedic disciplines, maybe start off with the left eye as a starting point, but still check both out because you never know. And you want to go with what your instinct tells you over then what the rule says. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay?
Just a small follow-up on that. I know from firearms training that people have a dominant eye left, just like we're right-handed or left-handed. And for instance, if someone is being taught to shoot using the right eye, but their left eye is dominant, they can't hit the target. So when you're working with someone, you might notice which eye they tend to focus through, and that will give you an idea of which side is more dominant for that individual. But generally, it's the right eye.
And take the less dominant. They take the less dominant side when you find it, because you want to encourage the non-dominant part of the personality. Okay, guys. So that's enough for now. Oh, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Just dive into the oh, go ahead, Wendy.
You said if you blink to start again, so what you're supposed to be just looking without blinking at all.
Well, I'm not going to say like never blink. You can do it without blinking, by the way, and I've trained myself to be able to do it.
Yep.
But this is serious, guys. I have trained myself to do it without blinking. The key thing is, if you're doing this, that's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
If you do...
Yeah. So it's occasional blink.
That's okay.
Eyes are dry is fine.
Exactly. I don't think it's strongly about that. But if you do it without blinking, that has a really cool effect. Okay, guys, find a partner. Spend 10 minutes, I'll call you back when we're done, in total silence, because it's about what you do rather than what you say. Okay, folks. Judging by the level of noise immediately at the end of that exercise, I'm guessing something reasonably significant happened there, something more unexpected. Can we have Joshua or Sean, can you help bring the mics around?
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't being done with somebody of the opposite sex. If somebody was male, female, I don't know how that was an interaction, but this was a very emotional and deep connection, and I had a feeling that I've made. I don't even know Dave. I just sat down with him today. It's the first time we've been talking to him. I don't think any of the drills we've done together. I don't think have we, Dave? And I felt like I met a new best friend. It was very intense.
I totally understand where you're coming from. Did more people get this sense? Not just about the new best friend, but it is actually an intense emotional experience. It's weird, isn't it? Just looking at someone and you're having an intense emotional experience. Well, isn't that what we want someone to have when you're talking to them? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of tricks on, did anyone find this sort of thing happening? I'm going to get some more feedback in a minute, but just as a general thing, do you find yourself suddenly, having massive mental chat as you look at someone going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this, or I want to look away, what's he looking at? Am I looking weird? Have I got something in my nose? Or like random chatter coming in, basically trying to embarrass you, saying like, I don't feel comfortable about this, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't wait, is the 10 minutes up yet? By the way, you only had 8 minutes. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a break. But did you get that kind of mental static coming through? Yes? Some of you didn't? Great. If you didn't do that, then you're doing this properly. If you did get mental static, what's happening is that this is basically going to be a battle between these two, right? Your critical factor is going to try and come in and stop you doing something which is socially not accepted or not socially not normal for Western society. So your job, and this is really important, if you want to get the hang of conversational hypnosis, this is the scene that you set for conversation.